In this video, I will be showing how to create a turn-up plain hem at the end of knitting. I started with plain hem at the bottom, right here, followed by stocking it with Fisherman's rib to reduce the curling along both sides here. Now I am setting up a turn-up plain hem to finish off the project right about here. This will be where I will pick up the stitches, and after I've knitted more stitches above here, I will be lifting these up and attaching them up the top. But I need to be able to mark these so I can actually see where I'm going to move them. So first thing I'm going to do is knit one row at T+3, which is T8 for me, all the way across for one row. First I'm going to mark all of these stitches so that I can pick them up later on. To do this I am going to use some ravel cord of a contrasting color, this nice pink here, and a darning needle like this. But I want to move these stitches forward a bit so they don't catch on the posts. So I just move them away from the posts a little bit here, make it easier. And I'm going to weave the ravel cord through the first and second stitch, this one and this one, and then after that every third stitch along. So first through the front here, but not through the post, and then out front. That's one. And then through the second stitch and back. That's the first two done. Then I go 1, 2, 3 over here, and notice that these don't catch on the posts. And then 1, 2, 3 from the front, out the back, and then over the top and in front of these posts. I've now reached the right hand side, and I'm going to go every third one, but I'm going to finish off with the last two, at least, maybe three, depending. So I'll finish those two off and pull this behind the thread down there and just let it hang. To make things a little easier, especially when you're starting, and I had trouble with this, I'm going to put a paper clip in the last three rows on the left and on the right. So it goes through the front here, through the front there, through the front there, and down behind, and then I take the weight and I hold the paper clip in so it doesn't catch on anything, and then I put a little bit of a weight on the ravel cord just to hold it down, and I do the same thing on the left. And on the left I put a paper clip through that one from the front, around the back, and through the front of that one and back, and then hold it down, take the weight that's down here and clip it on so that it holds the paper clip. Make sure it doesn't catch off. Put the knitting back into that position, ready for the next row. I'm now ready to finish off knitting the hem. So back to main tension, and 11 rows at the main tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Change the tension to tension +3. One more row. Back to the main tension 5, and 10 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And finishing off with one row at tension +3, ending with a column on the left, and cut the yarn with 4 times the width of the knitting for finishing off. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I'll cut it there, and now it's ready to go. I am now ready to pick up the stitches from below and put them on the needles above, but first I removed the weights just to make things a lot easier. And when I first started this, I used to start from the left hand side with this first stitch and then try the second stitch and then so forth on, and that did not work out very well because it can sometimes be difficult to find this stitch and that's the second stitch. So what I now do, I use a three-prong transfer tool with the one on the end, and I go for stitch 3, 4 and 5. So 1 and 2 went through the ravel cord here. The ravel cord went through the 5th stitch. So this is the 5th, 4th and 3rd. And as you can see, I can see that the stitch goes through there, so there's the first loop. This is the one beside it and the one beside it, and between each of these is a downward facing loop. So to pick up these, I put the transfer tool through that one and that one, and as you can see there's a loop in between them. So this is stitch 2, 3 and 4, and I move that up to needle 2, 3 and 4, put it on, push them back. Now I can go backwards to the left and pick up the other stitches, and there's the stitch that's on. There's a loop here facing down, and then this is obviously the next one over, very easy to find, put that in, and then here's a loop down, and then the next one it's tricky to find obviously, which is why I do it the other way now. Appears to be that one there. I just check the look, and it has a loop here and so forth. I will now continue over here. I now have the ravel cord going through there, and I can see that this is these three are the ones I pick up. Put them on there, and then over a little bit further I can see that the ravel cord goes in there, so that is the one I want to pick up, and then it's easy to see the other three and put them up 3 at a time. I'm now ready to do the right hand side, the last 3 plus 1. I made a mistake with the clip. I should not have put it through the last 3, I should have put it through the last 2, because the 3rd stitch here was the second last one, and that's the last one. So I took it out. Now I'm going to pick up the last 3, and obviously it's going through there, so that's the first one. The next one over is there, and the next one over is there. As you can see, they're fairly easy to see. And I put those on the needles. Now the last stitch is the tricky one. We'll see if we can find it here. If not, just fake it, because it's not that important, but just find something that looks good, and that kind of looks good. The ravel cord's going through it, of course the latch is open. Right, so let's put it up, over there, pull them all the way through. Looks pretty good. So now I pull out the ravel cord, and we're ready to go to the next stage. The final stage of the project is to remove the stitches with an E-wrap finish. In some cases you'll see people knit these together, put one row across at tension +3, and then E-wrap off. That to me creates a little bit of a lumpier finish. I've just prefer to do an E-wrap off of right directly to the needles as they are now. So I'm going to pull them forward a little bit, and obviously when we E-wrap off from the left, we go in through here and over to the left. So first thing I'm going to take off, move it over a bit, there we go. I make sure that the needle goes through 2 loops. Now I can see on the left hand side there's 2, and on the right hand side there's 2, so that looks good. And then I pull that through, and so forth. Then I take the second one and I go through both of them, and to check that I've gone through both, I move the needle over to the left and there's 2 threads there. Move the needle to the right and there's 2 threads there. That's very important that at least I pick up those 2, and then I come back through over here and pull everything through. Nice. Through this one, and this is a simple E-wrap. This is a standard E-wrap. Just have to be a little more careful because there are 2 loops here, and if you miss them, that's why I always check the left and the right to make sure there's 2 threads there. And then this one is not quite as important. Well, I've only picked up one there, so let's see if I can find the second one. Here it is. Of course that always happens, catches on the gate posts. So I got 2 there. So if I did this wrong, and I would only find 1 loop on this side and 3 on this side, so I push it through, check there's 2 there, 2 there, and come through the front all the way across to the end. Standard E-wrap. Now I've now removed the knitting from the machine, and as you can see, this is the finished product. The Fisherman's rib, two of them up this side are a lot flatter than the one on the other side, but I use this as a panel, and I'll be joining another piece down here, and this will just hide the stitch, Pickford stitch. All that remains is to take these ends here, the ends down the bottom here, and this end, and to sew them together. I like to use the Pickford stitch, makes them look quite nice. Then we look at the back side of it, and this is, as you can see, this is the top join, the last one we did, and that's nice and flat, so it's not going to cause much of a problem. Anyway, that's it. That's my demo for plain turn-up hens.